So, aloha and welcome everybody to the Libra new moon distant Reiki share, astrology share, really tuning into the Libra new moon and the month ahead. Thank you so much for being here, everyone who's here live and those who are listening later. I host these every new moon, and so our next new moon is on November 19th. And this will be the Scorpio new moon astrology and Reiki share, and it's occurring at a different time. I'm going to be in India. And so the plan is to offer the distant Reiki share. It'll be 8 a.m. local time in India. But for, the those of you who are not in India, the time zone will be 4:30 p.m. Hawaii time, and then these other times, Pacific and Eastern, on November 19th. And you'll receive an email with that time zone converter once again, just to make sure. And if something goes wrong, like I don't have internet access or something, because it is during Mercury retrograde, I will email everybody and let you all know that that is, canceled or rescheduled or something. So the plan is to offer it, but if not, I will do my best to let you all know about that as well. If there are any changes, Mercury retrograde teaches us to be flexible. I'm also offering one-on-one galactic astrology soul readings and Reiki journey sessions. I have a couple of openings in the next few weeks before I leave for India. So if you're interested in that, you can learn more and book on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. Okay, end of October transit. So the current astrological energies we are working with, lots to go through here. Today, as I said, actually it's tomorrow. So this is October 21st is the exactitude of our new moon in Libra. We are in the balsamic moon phase. So it's like the end of the cycle that started about a month ago. And this is a really potent, mystical, magical time. I did a whole video on the new moon in Libra, and that's really what we will focus on in the Reiki journey, tuning into Shapley Attractor, tuning into the great cosmic void, the source origin of the known universe, and connecting in with the galactic and astrological energies of the new moon. So on the same day it's the new moon, Neptune is going to re-enter Pisces. So Neptune, planet of spirituality and sometimes confusion, deception, delusion, illusion, as well as entering mystical, dreamy, magical, watery, intuitive sign of Pisces. So this could feel like we're reviewing and refreshing and going back over some things that were really coming up earlier this year, in the earliest months of this year, as we close out this Neptune and Pisces cycle, which would have been about the last 14 years. So it's a time of completions, a time of closing out what no longer serves our highest good, and releasing ourselves of delusions, illusions, deceptions, things like that, and really trusting ourselves, trusting our process, and being okay with being in transition, being okay with being in the liminal, being okay with letting things go and releasing, and really being open to those new beginnings of next year and beyond, coming through in February and the springtime in the northern hemisphere of next year. But right now, like, if there's a lot of letting go and endings, know that that is divinely timed. If you feel like you are in total transition mode, know that that is divinely timed and totally okay as well. And if things aren't crystal clear, exact, the action plan, the step by step, again, totally okay where you need to be, and trust where you're at. October 22nd, the sun is entering the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio season is underway. And so this is deep, this is potent, this is transformational. The sun in Scorpio is asking us really to go deep and to be really, really honest and to really look at what truth we need to come to terms with and transform and alchemize shadow into light. So, this is a time to really go deep, go within, ask those deep questions of yourself and of your life, and to really turn your gaze inward. This is, very, very mystical, deep, beyond the veil kind of a time, Scorpio season. October 23rd, we have Jupiter squaring Chiron, Chiron being the wound that hopefully we can alchemize into medicine, into an offering, into a gift, into something that we share. And Jupiter could be expanding our awareness around our deepest wounding, our abandonment, how we feel different, how we feel we don't belong. And this can also bring up some emotions around that are needing to be felt so that they can be healed and so that we can take those next steps, that next evolution of transmuting the wound into the medicine, into the gift, into the offering. So this can be a very, very sensitive day as Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer does have to do with our emotional sensitivity, home, family, belongingness, connection, safety. October 24th, the sun is squaring Pluto. And so this is creating this grand square or this grand cross in astrology. And this is actually active at the time of this new moon, but it's coming into exactitude the 23rd, the 24th. So this Scorpio sun is in Pluto's sign, Scorpio, Pluto, planet of soul consciousness, of transformation, life, death, and rebirth. So, all of these emotions coming up to be healed, all of this unconscious material, too. Pluto can bring up our unconscious material coming up to be dealt with, to be processed, to be seen and heard. And hopefully, that sun in Scorpio we can release, we can let go, we can let that energy move through us so that it's no longer burdening us and weighing us down. So, this is very powerful. This is deep. This is emotional. This is occurring in the cardinal signs of well, partially. Let's see. Yeah, Jupiter and Chiron are in the cardinal signs of Cancer and Aries, and the Sun in Scorpio, the Pluto in Aquarius. So this is, yeah, asking us to shift and change and transmute and in very deep and powerful ways so that we can initiate those new beginnings and those changes and those shifts that we're ready for. October 24th, we also have this big flow of water energy happening as Mercury, still in Scorpio, asking us to go deep, to look at the truth, to get to the root cause, to go beneath the surface, is in a harmonious alignment with Jupiter and Saturn, a flow of energy with Jupiter and Cancer. Again, that water sign, emotional sign. Saturn back in Pisces, again, a watery, intuitive, mystical, spiritual sign. So this is an emotional kind of an energy flow here. And I think we could have feelings coming up with regard to, that Sun square Pluto. How do we need to change our identities, how we see ourselves, how we be in relationship, how we be in community too, with Pluto and Aquarius based on, this refreshing and renewing sense of identity, personal power, who we truly are. And this could bring up a lot of feelings and also shifts that we're needing to make within our mindset, within our thoughts, within our belief systems, within our communications too, as we begin planning for the long term as well. With Saturn, we're always looking ahead. We're always looking at the long-term view. October 27th, Mars is trining Jupiter in Cancer, Mars in Scorpio. And this is a continuation of that emotional energy running through our physical bodies. Mars. So move your body, move the energy, and to really take care of yourself too. If anything's coming up, if health type things are coming up, and if you're just, this could feel like powerful life force energy moving through. This can also be like very good hard work. Mars, Jupiter expanding, Mars, that will, that drive, that focus, motivation, what you really care about, what really matters to you. And having that sense of like, oh, Jupiter, like I can do it. Like now's the time. Let's go. Opportunity coming in. October 28th, Mercury is trining Neptune. That's a harmonious flow of energy between Mercury, our mind, our communication. Neptune, again, this planet of spirituality. This is beautiful for higher consciousness, for journeying, for meditation, for writing, automatic writing, creative pursuits, poetry as well. This can also be confusing. This can also be like, being in a fog and not knowing kind of what's true, what's real, what's not. So just to be mindful, there's always that higher frequency expression, being in an altered state of consciousness that's connecting you to a more, expanded sense of like who you are, or just being like downright, confused and kind of in a fog too. That would be more of that lower frequency shadow expression of this alignment, and knowing that, as these planets express through us, don't judge yourself or others if you're in that like higher frequency or lower frequency. We all can tap into all of it at any given time, and that is a part of the process too. So letting go of any kind of judgment or evaluation of, how this is flowing through. The information and what I'm sharing here, is hopefully intended to empower you to tap into those higher frequencies, but also be gentle with yourself and others if you do find yourself manifesting the lower frequencies. That happens to all of us. October 29th, Mercury will be moving from Scorpio into Sagittarius. So Mercury in Scorpio is going deep, diving into the truth, getting to the root cause, the bottom of the issue. In Sagittarius, this can feel lighter, brighter, more hopeful, a little bit more uplifting, a bit more, expansive. Likewise, it can be like too much information too. It can be a bit more distractible, whereas Mercury in Scorpio is a bit easier to focus and, like research and go really deep. Mercury in Sag wants to kind of say yes to all the things, do all the things, go all the places, see all the people. However, Mercury will be going retrograde, and we'll get into that in just a second. On the 29th, we are also running that energy through our bodies. Mars in Scorpio is trining Saturn in Pisces, and this can be another aspect of hard work, determination, focus, drive, and will towards what we want to create for the long term. Saturn, really strong work ethic and powerful, like getting things done that matter and that, have tangibility to them, physicality to them, with Mars and Saturn working together. So this is, really potentially very, very beautiful. October 29th as well. This is around the same time. This is a zing. This is like a, circle zing. Zingy electrical energy. The moon will be in Aquarius, the sign that is ruled by Uranus, an electrical type of an energy, community-based energy, humanitarian energy, Aquarius. Really looking at the broader vision for humanity and the earth, And Mercury will be in Sagittarius opposing Uranus and Gemini. And this is where like brilliant ideas, good conversations, new connections, new social contacts, galactic contact, expanded consciousness, big shifts and changes here, new information that's bringing truths to light that can no longer be concealed. And this is like soothe your nervous system and those that you are supporting as well. A good time to note that this is important to really soothe your nervous system and kind of double down on those bedtime routines, those grounding routines, being away from the computer and phone, being in nature, things like that could be really, really supportive around the 29th. So just to know that that's there. But this can be insights, breakthroughs, awarenesses, powerful shifts in consciousness and like where you felt blocked, trapped, constricted, confused even. New clarity kind of coming in at this time. So that can be really wonderful and positive. October 30th, Mercury in Sagittarius, just after this opposition to Uranus, it's going to sextile Pluto in Aquarius. And this can be furthering that process of mental breakthroughs, powerful connections, soul-based opportunities, connections that really matter, new plans that really matter and feel rooted in the deepest, truest part of you, connecting with your tribe, your family of frequency. So, yeah, just really beautiful, powerful energy with regard to Mercury towards the end of October. That said, at the time of our new moon, October 21st, so dialing back the clock a bit here, the date a bit, Mercury is already in its pre-shadow period. So it's preparing to go retrograde. And so it will recover this territory again. So between 20 degrees of Scorpio and 6 degrees 51 minutes of Sagittarius is the Mercury retrograde period. So if you are familiar with your natal chart, you'll want to look at, do you have planets, points in your chart between 20 degrees Scorpio and about 7 degrees Sagittarius? Which astrological house is that degree range in? And that's where Mercury will be asking you to review, rethink, to slow down, to reflect, to go back over things that have been coming up for you in the last few months, and specifically in the house area, the life area represented by the astrological house that Mercury retrograde is occurring through. Very generally speaking, the retrograde happening in Scorpio, sign of going very deep, mystical, psychic, intuitive, getting to the root cause, getting to the truth, going beneath the surface, not afraid to look at what's ugly, what's taboo, what's not normally talked about, deeply spiritual sign, those kinds of themes coming up. And also, releasing, detoxification, purging in the body. Scorpio rules the sexual organs and the organs of elimination. So the colon, getting the toxins out, removing the waste, and removing Mercury, like what's been kind of like dark and lurking within our consciousness, within our minds, within our mental body, within our communications as well. Sagittarius, Mercury retrograde in Sag. Again, this is more optimistic, hopeful. It's also very truth focused. Sagittarius is a sign that seeks justice. It's associated with the law along with Libra. the sign of this new moon. So this is another highlight of the law and legalities and what is right and true and fair really being very important and very, very highlighted at this time. Sagittarius is also seeking meaning. It's seeking an expanded perspective. It's seeking the bigger picture, a higher view. It's seeking metaphysical truths, like how is everything connected? What does it all really mean? And again, knowing where this is occurring in your astrology chart can help ground it in terms of which areas of life are being impacted. So October 21st, we're entering that pre-shadow period. November 9th, Mercury stations retrograde at 6 degrees and 51 minutes of Sagittarius. It will appear to move backwards from our perspective here on Earth, and it will station direct on November 29th at 20 degrees Scorpio, 42 minutes, and then appear to move forward again from our perspective here on Earth, recovering that territory that it went over. So everything from 20 degrees Scorpio, 7 degrees Sag will get up to 3 passes of Mercury. So it really is a very focused energy. December 16th, Mercury will be moving into new territory. So this really is a time to slow down, to rethink. It doesn't mean you can't use technology. It doesn't mean you can't make new plans, sign contracts, things like that. It just means you might want to slow down. Reread that email you're about to send. Reread that text message you're about to send. Reread that text that somebody sent to you, or, ask to clarify a date or a detail. If you're making like travel plans or something, signing contracts, slow down, go over it a little bit more carefully, because at the time of retrograde, Mercury's actually closest to the Earth, and so it's like it's moving fast. It's very prominent, so we can kind of like be reactive in all mercurial things, communications, technology, with our mental body. So just slow down, take a beat, take a breath, and don't feel like you have to stop living your life for this amount of time, because guess what? Mercury goes retrograde 3 times every single year. This is very, very normal, and it's just a cycle that we deal with on Earth. Oh, I also here have the moon in the signs and the dates of that. And this is set for Hawaii time, but in the email with the replay of all of this Reiki share, I will share the website where you can access this information and put in your own time zone, so you can see exactly when does the moon enter a new sign. And this gives you a really good vibe check on the next 2.5 days, that the moon, our emotional body, in Scorpio, in Sagittarius, in Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, these are all very different moods. They're very different energies. They're different vibrations. And that can also show you like which house and what the moon is highlighting in your own astrology chart. So very powerful information and good way to learn astrology, paying attention to what sign is the moon in and what phase is the moon in. And you can see here, it's starting dark, right? So October 21st, we will have just had that Libra new moon. It's dark, can't see it. And then it's growing here in size. There's a little bit more light here by the time it's in Sag, a crescent. It's coming into even more of a crescent here when it enters Capricorn, and then a quarter moon here in Aquarius. It's waxing in all of this. It's growing. There's more light being reflected. And astronomy, little tidbit here, how this moon is drawn here. The sun would have to be on this side. So the sun would have to be shining its light here, because the lit side of the moon is always facing the sun. It's reflecting the sun's light. So the sun would have to be to the right of it, and how it's kind of shown here on screen, shining that light. Because at the time of the full moon, the moon is always opposite the sun. Moving into November, again, there's a lot. We have another retrograde happening. So Mercury will be in its retrograde. Jupiter is also stationing retrograde on November 11th at 25 degrees Cancer, 9 minutes, and will be appear to move backwards until March of next year, around 15 degrees of Cancer. So again, you'll want to know, do you have any planets or points between 15 and 25 degrees Cancer? If so, Jupiter will be expanding those planets and points in your birth chart. And likewise, even if you don't have planets or points in Cancer, you know, which astrological house is Cancer zodiac sign in your astrology chart will give you more information about what Jupiter is expanding. But this outward expansion of Jupiter moving direct is now turned inward. So we are inviting to tune into our emotions. We're being invited to tune into themes of home, family, safety, security, belongingness, our connection to the earth, our sense of comfort, nurturance, nourishment. These are all Cancer zodiac sign themes. So Jupiter is asking us, how are we meeting those needs? And maybe how are those needs not being met? And what shifts do we need to make so that we can better meet those needs for ourselves and others, and move forward in our lives with a greater sense of comfort, nourishment, belongingness. Cancer is also the sign of the mother, the divine mother, the mother lineage, the feminine lineage. And so this can be an expansion within that mother energy, that divine feminine, that divine mother frequency here. So really beautiful, powerful, mystical. And yeah, so that's happening on 11/11. So that's like really, really magical. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jupiter, the moon will be moving through Cancer, just before it stations retrograde. And so we'll have like a moon Jupiter conjunction. You'll be able to see the moon and Jupiter together in the sky really beautifully. And then Jupiter will then station retrograde. So very, very cool. So we start the month with Venus opposing Chiron. So Venus bringing in some harmony, some soothing, some divine feminine sweetness and receptivity with regard to that wound Chiron that we were talking about on the last slide, which might have been stimulated or, pricked a little bit, or, we're invited to look in and go there a bit. Some feelings coming up. So Venus opposing Chiron, we may have more clarity, we may have some help come in, and this can be, again, additional healing energy to receive and align with. We may find ourselves offering healing or finding healing support with women or divine feminine beings around this time. Venus is then going to square Jupiter in Cancer. And so this is, big pleasure, big sweetness. Venus, the lesser benefic, Jupiter, the greater benefic here. So this can be like all the pleasure, all the goodness, all the sweetness. Just be mindful of going too far with that. But this can bring in an expanded sense of pleasure and sensuality and beauty and harmony and optimism as well here. November 3rd, Mars is trining Neptune. This can be like, we need a rest, you need a break, you need some more time in meditation. This can also be, an extra time to sleep, to tune in, to reflect, to dream. This is like the dream work alignment here. Yeah, really beautiful as Mars is at that final little bit of Scorpio, and Neptune will be back in Pisces. This is like a really powerful like DreamWorks kind of an alignment here. This can also shadow frequency be kind of like action that is like based on illusion or delusion or deception or something like that. So be mindful of that as well. November 4th, Mars is entering Sagittarius. Sagittarius, fire sign. This is like wildfire, Mars and Sagittarius. Too much fire, too much heat, too much burn, too much activity, wants to do too many things, go too many places, overcommit, over ambitious. So just to be mindful of that as well. This can feel like more energy in a good way, in a positive way as well, but to also not kind of like overcommit yourself or get too carried away either. So yeah, that Mars and Sag is very energetic going on here. November 4th. Mars will then also oppose Uranus when it enters Sagittarius, and Uranus will still be in Gemini. So this can bring about sudden shifts, breakthroughs. This is additional zingy energy here, electrical energy. Yeah, powerful time to have like shifts in consciousness, perspective, motivation, truths coming to light. This is seismic energy. This is like volcanic and earthquake and shifts in the Earth's body as well. So yeah, definitely a day to be aware of yeah, shifts and surprises too with Uranus awakening. At a higher level, this can be powerful Kundalini awakening energy here with Mars and Sag opposing Uranus and Gemini. That's even being stimulated by, say, like galactic energies. That would be very true to the Uranian influence there. November 5th, we have the full moon in Taurus at 13 degrees and 22 minutes. Big, bright, beautiful Venus ruled full moon there, and I'll do a separate video on that. It's making alignments with some very powerful stars. November 6th, Venus is changing sign, entering Scorpio. She's been, cruising in Libra, keeping it light, keeping it beautiful, keeping it very friendly and balanced and harmonized. And going into Scorpio, it's like, it's time to go deep. It's time to transform. It's time to transmute. It's time to alchemize. And it's bringing some extra harmony into those themes. As you know, I've said those words a lot already. It's bringing harmony and gifts and blessings and greater flow and navigation through that deep unconscious material that can be really difficult, can be really, really challenging. With Venus here, it's like, okay, we have support. It can be a little easier. It can be a little lighter here. This is very powerful divine feminine energy. I think I skipped over there on November 6th, same day. So Venus is entering Scorpio. Mars is also sextiling Pluto. And again, this is powerful, transformational, soul-led activation, motivation, opportunities, healing within the divine masculine, hopefully. That's the prayer there. And yeah, this can bring in powerful aligned actions and opportunities here to actually take a next step, to take an action. November 6th, we also have, so that's a busy day, right? Mars sextile Pluto, Venus is changing sign, Sun is also trining the north node of the moon. So there's a flow, there's a an evolutionary growth opportunity that can come in and connect. There's support, there's a bit of hope, there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So this can be really beautiful and supportive. November 7th is another important transit here. Uranus retrograde, it's been retrograde for a little while now, will leave the sign of Gemini, where it's been since July 7th, and re enter Taurus. And will do its last dance in Taurus before it re enters Gemini next year. So, this is like plugging that electrical energy back into the earth, Taurus, reviewing some issues that were coming up at the first half of this year, making those completions. It's also asking us to look at what we truly value, Taurus. It's asking us to look at our relationship to the earth, to money, to finances, to pleasure, to sensuality, to all these Taurian types of themes here, and to really, yeah, have those shifts in our value systems that need to happen to support the new identities, the new connections, the new ideas and innovations that are going to be coming in a bigger way with Uranus and Gemini. So again, if you're reviewing things that were really alive the first half of the year, coming around November 7th, to know that that's, yeah, perfectly normal, perfectly okay here. November 9th, Mercury will be retrograde, as we already talked about. November 11th, Jupiter retrograde. So this is kind of a slow down period, right? November 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. We have Uranus moving back into Taurus for the last time for a while. We have Mercury going retrograde. We have Jupiter going retrograde. Slow down, pause, breathe, turn within, and yeah, make some extra space in your life as you can. November 12th, we have Mercury conjunct Mars at 6 degrees Sag. This can be lots of fire. This can be trigger ability. This can be passionate, expansive communication too. This can be really, really beautiful. But this can, Mercury and Mars together, as I learned in a very personal way recently with an allergic reaction, Mercury Mars can physically bring on allergic response. So to know that kind of inflammatory allergic energy as it relates physically, but also as it relates metaphorically, gives you a sense of when Mercury and Mars can come together. So just be aware if you're easily triggered, if others are easily triggered, to, think before you speak, and, take some extra breaths and time and self-care as needed as well too. And don't be surprised if you see it, projected out in your reality too. So just be in peace, focus on what matters to you and what is true for you. And this is not the time to get into philosophical battles with others, which can be an expression of Mercury, Mars, and Sag, like who's right. And yeah, don't go there. November 16th, we have Sun trining Jupiter and Saturn. This is a grand trine in water. Beautiful flow. This is also a lot of water. This is literal, a lot of water energy. So this can bring problems and issues with plumbing and things like that, and emotional issues up. It can also be mystical, imaginative, dreamy, inspirational, very, very beautiful, creative expressions of this grand water trine as well. November 17th, Mercury sextiles Pluto. We're going deep. We're going beneath the surface. We are really investigating. This whole Mercury retrograde period would be a great time to research something in depth, or to pick a project that you really want to focus on. Maybe you're writing something, you're writing a book or a course or a blog or a chapter or something like that, or you pick somewhere to focus on and like you focus on it. I would say that would be a really great use of this Mercury retrograde period, just given the transits that Mercury will be making over the course of it. So on the 18th, Mercury re-enters Scorpio, again going deep, going beneath the surface. On the 19th, it will oppose Uranus again. And yeah, this is that zingy, innovative, insightful, aware, breakthrough, galactic contact type of an energy. And on the same day, it will trine Neptune. There could be confusion around that. There could be deception, delusion. Likewise, there can be, powerful spiritual communications and insights and awarenesses and, yeah, psychic experiences, intuitive experiences, mystical experiences here, creative flow, having those breakthrough ideas and then, writing about it or speaking about it, talking about it, journeying on it, having powerful dreams about it. And then that will lead us into the Scorpio new moon, which also occurs when Mercury will be cazimi. This is an exact conjunction with the sun when it is closest to us. It's called the interior conjunction, the inferior conjunction, or cazimi, and that's happening at 28 Scorpio and 18 minutes at the time of that new moon. And I'll definitely get into that more in the video I make on that new moon. But yeah, that gives a sense and overview. There's a lot happening. The moon signs here also up on screen for you, so you can see as the moon continues to wax, becomes full. November 5th, the Taurus full moon, and then it starts to wane here through these signs. So you can kind of follow it and see the vibe, the different vibe checks for the different 2.5 to 3 day periods in that waning moon cycle. So definitely encourage you to follow the moon and go look and actually visibly tune in and connect with the moon too, as much as possible.